You get to the California Angels, you're pitching the home opener, and some wondered if it was a gimmick on the part of a struggling franchise. What were your thoughts?
I thought I earned it. I thought I was there. I was there in spring training. I saw the opening that was there in the starting rotation, and I felt like I deserved to be there. And if you knew our manager at the time, a man named Doug Rader, our pitching coach, Marcel Latchman, who's a mentor to me to this day, and you would know that they were baseball men that didn't make decisions based upon whether or not people would come and show up. I don't think that was the plan.
A member of the audience, Dave DeHart, I hope I'm doing justice to your name, said in the book you discuss the many imperfect kids who often came to visit. Have you kept in contact with any of them? Do they still contact you?
Absolutely. Part of the motivation for this book was to try to answer the questions that I still get to this day. I'm amazed so long after my career is over that I get the emails and the cards from kids around the country, kids who are facing similar challenges as me, and the kids that I used to meet by the sides of the dugout, and kids that I used to meet outside of the clubhouse doors. And when I got to the major leagues, I thought I could move past the label. I kind of made a mistake. I thought that maybe I could be known for how well I pitched instead of how I pitched. I thought I could move past the label of the one-handed pitcher or the one-armed pitcher, but it was a naive notion because everywhere we went, in these beautiful cities, in these beautiful ballparks, families started showing up, and moms and dads, little boys and girls facing challenges that I can't even begin to describe. And I would be sitting in the clubhouse, chatting with my teammates or listening to music, maybe reading a book, and inevitably that tap on the shoulder would come. A clubhouse official would say, "Jim, there's a little boy outside who'd like to say hi." And I'd walk down, I'd take the headphones off and walk down right over here next to the visitor's dugout. And I didn't always want to go, Michael. Those meetings to me were a reminder of my own differences, of something that I was trying to move past. And yet, when I got there and I saw that mom and dad, or I saw that little boy or that little girl, and maybe we played a game of catch, I never walked away uninspired. I never walked away not bound and determined to make the most of what I had been given, because that's exactly what they were doing. They're refusing to use the circumstances of their life as an excuse. And they knew, like I knew, that people will forgive that. People will allow that. But you know in your heart what you've been given. And the obligation we all have is to make the most of that ability, no matter what it is, no matter what talent that you've been given. And so, yes, I do get those cards and those letters, and I try to respond to every single one, and I try to write this one-page letter, and I try to send a photo. Sometimes it's a Yankees photo, and people don't always appreciate that. But in a lot of ways, this book was my attempt to answer those letters in the long form and say, this was my experience. These were my parents. This is where I grew up. And this is what I found to be true.
Another member of the audience, Matt Aber, asks, what was it like to win that gold medal? And would you mention some of the personalities with whom you played?
Well, the gold medal, I was lucky in my career. I experienced two really great ninth innings. One was in the Olympics in college when I played for the United States Olympic team. We played in Seoul, Korea. It was a team that loved each other. And we traveled around the world. The core of that team we played in Cuba, we played in Italy, we played in Japan, we played around the United States, not in ballparks like this, in minor league parks. We carried our bags, but it was a team that grew incredibly close together. And we had Andy Bennis on that team. Ben McDonald was on that team. Robin Ventura was on that team. Tino Martinez was on that team. Mickey Morandini, who played here in Philadelphia, was on that team. And we came to really love each other. And we talked so much about the Olympics and winning that last game. And it was the only team I was ever on that nobody cared about their statistics. Nobody knew what their batting average was. Nobody knew what their ERA was. It was all about winning. And so when we got to that final game in Seoul, Korea, I was given the ball to start that game. Mark Marcus, our head coach, was from Stanford, gave me a white ball 2 days before the game, and he said, "You're starting against Japan for the gold medal." And I've never been so nervous before a game in my life. Went back to this high-rise apartment where all our pitchers were staying together, and all my buddies were sound asleep. And I stared at the ceiling just thinking about this game and not wanting to mess it up. And there I was, found myself in the 9th inning, 3 outs away from a gold medal, and got 3 ground balls in a row on 3 straight pitches, straight to Robin Ventura. He catches the first one. He throws it high to Tino Martinez, who was playing at first base. Tino had to jump way up in the air, tagged the guy out, and barely got the runner. So we're 2 outs away from a gold medal. Next pitch, ground ball to Robin. He starts to throw it, and our shortstop, Dave Silvestri from the University of Missouri, is screaming at him, "Hit him in the chest, hit him in the chest." Robin kind of looks at him, throws it. This one's just a little bit lower, but okay. Catches it, Tino steps on the bag, 2 outs away. 1 out away, I mean. The last ball, last pitch, ground ball to Robin. He picks it up. Silvestri screaming at him, "Hit him in the chest." Ventura throws it across the diamond, hits Tino right in the chest, and we won a gold medal together. It was just incredible.
Let's talk about September 14, 1993. You mention in the book that your first pitch dribbled up to the backstop. Did you have great stuff that particular afternoon, or had the moon and the stars lined up for you?
Well, the moon and the stars lined up a little bit early in the game, that's for sure. That game came against the Cleveland Indians. Up at the time, they were a good up-and-coming team. They had Kenny Lofton, they had Albert Bell, they had Manny Ramirez had just been called up to that team. Jim Thome was on that team. Up and down the lineup, they were a good, solid hitting team. And I had got pitched against them 5 days before in the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium, and I got absolutely shelled. 2 1/3 innings pitched, I think 10 hits, 7 runs, 5 walks. My manager, Buck Showalter, walked out and said, "That will be enough from you, Jim." I stormed over to the dugout. I slammed my glove on the ground, and I looked around the clubhouse, and my teammates were kind of turning away from me. And I went up in the clubhouse, and I kicked a few things, and it wasn't great behavior. And so I ripped off my Yankee gray jersey. I put on my Yankee T-shirt, and I left the stadium. I just went running as far and as fast as I could go to try to get rid of the anger of that game and what hadn't been a great season to that point. We won the game. We scored 11 runs. I tiptoed back into the clubhouse. Buck Showalter called me in his office. He looked at me and he said, "Do you know we won that game?" I said, "Yeah." "Where were you?" "Running through the streets of Cleveland." "Yeah." "In your Yankee T-shirt?" "Yeah." "We don't do that. Do you understand me?" I said, "Okay." So we headed back to New York, and I'm in trouble with my manager. I'm not pitching well. It hasn't been a great season, and I have to face the same team 5 days later. And so I walked out there, that first pitch on the mound. Matt Noakes was catching behind the plate. He gave me a fastball, and he told me before the game, he said, "Listen, I don't care how well you do. I just want you to trust each and every pitch. That's the measurement of success today. How many pitches you can throw with trust." So I got up on that mound, and I threw the first pitch with all the trust I could muster all the way to the backstop. walked Kenny Lofton. He was the leadoff hitter, fastest runner in the league, walked him on 5 pitches. I'm sure Showalter's in the dugout thinking, okay, here we go again. He's going to be running through the Bronx here in a second. I don't care what he does. But we got a double play, got out of the inning, the sun and the moon aligned, and that's the way it was. I walked a few guys, a little bit erratic, but slowly and surely the aggressiveness came back and that trust came back. And by the end of it, we were attacking the hitters pretty well.